Ever hit that wall building a WordPress site? You know, the one where you're like, man, I need this function, but staring at lines of code is about as appealing as, like, a root canal?
Oof. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Today, we're diving into something that might just be the antidote, CodeWP. It's this AI tool that's got everyone in the WordPress world talking, and we're going to see if it lives up to the hype.
And by the looks of this, stack, articles, reviews, even their pricing page, we're going deep. Someone's been doing their homework.
Always. Got to give our listeners a full download.
Right.
So CodeWP launched in 2022, a company called WPAI, still relatively new on the scene, but they're already boasting something like 50,000 users. And it's not just hype. The testimonials, they're seriously glowing.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye, too. When you've got everyone from freelancers to big-time agencies raving about a tool, it's like, okay, we got to see what this is all about.
Right.
But before we get into all that, the why people are excited, let's break down the what. What does CodeWP actually do?
At its core, two big things. First up, it's a code-generating machine.
Okay.
But not just any code. We're talking specifically for WordPress.
Yeah.
You describe what you want, and I'm talking plain English here. No tech jargon needed.
Nice.
And boom, CodeWP spits out the PHP, the JavaScript, even the CSS.
Which is huge because, as anyone who's even looked at WordPress knows, just finding the right snippet of code can feel like, I don't know, searching for a unicorn.
And then hoping it doesn't break your entire site when you try to use it.
Exactly.
And that's just feature one. CodeWP also has this AI chatbot. It's like having a WordPress guru on speed dial.
Okay, now that has potential.
Right.
Because we've all used those generic AI chatbots.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're great for, party tricks. But when you have a real WordPress question,
They just give you that blank stare.
pretty much.
But with CodeWP, you're not getting those generic answers. You can ask about your specific setup, your plugins, themes, you name it. You can even troubleshoot those pesky code snippets that just won't play nice.
All right, now you've got my attention. Color me intrigued. But let's be real. There are about a zillion AI tools popping up these days. So what makes CodeWP different? Why are WordPress users flocking to this one in particular?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Because, yeah, AI is hot right now, but CodeWP, they're laser-focused on WordPress. And that's where things get, well, really interesting. They've got these things called modes.
Modes. Okay, I'm listening.
So imagine instead of one general AI trying to do it all, you've got a whole team of specialists.
Okay.
One AI that's a whiz at Elementor, another that knows WooCommerce inside and out.
Right.
Another one that practically wrote the book on Gravity Forms. You get the idea.
So it's not just spitting out generic code. It's understanding the nuances of each plugin, each theme, all those little WordPress quirks.
You got it. And it's not just a handful either. They've got modes for LearnDash, MemberPress. I mean, we're talking a whole bunch of popular plugins.
I'm impressed.
And get this, within each mode, they have these presets for common tasks. Like, say you want to create a new Elementor widget or set up some custom visibility condition.
Right.
Boom, they've got a preset for that. It's like having a cheat sheet written by the plugin developers themselves.
Now that is next level.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's ever tried to, wrangle code for some of these complex plugins,
Oh, tell me about it.
it can be a nightmare. Figuring out the syntax, the hooks,
Oh.
it's so easy to get lost in the weeds.
So easy. But here's where CodeWP goes from, okay, this is pretty cool, to, hold on. This is mind-blowingly useful. You ready for this?
Hit me.
You can connect it to your live WordPress website.
Wait, back up. It's not just using some general knowledge base. It's looking at my specific setup.
You got it. Plugins, themes, even your server environment. CodeWP gets to know it all. So now, when you ask for a code snippet or you need help troubleshooting something, it's not generic advice. It's tailored to your site.
That changes everything.
Right.
Because suddenly you're not just saving time, you're eliminating that fear.
Right.
The fear of, breaking something or implementing a solution that's, almost right, but not quite.
Exactly. And the reviews reflect this. We're seeing quotes from people who are just blown away by the speed and accuracy. One freelancer, Christopher Marin, he said, and I quote, "The AI did it in less than 10 seconds. I feel amazed."
10 seconds.
10 seconds. And this is coming from a guy who builds WordPress sites for a living, so he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's not just him. We've got another user, John Garces, saying CodeWP is a bit cheaper than an agency, with a wink emoji, which, let's be honest, who hasn't thought that at some point? Especially when you just need a couple of tweaks or one specific function.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And this is what I think is so, so disruptive about CodeWP. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about accessibility,
Right.
like suddenly those who might have been, I don't know, intimidated by code, those who had to rely on, these expensive developers, they've got this powerful tool right at their fingertips.
Exactly. It's like CodeWP is saying, hey, you want to build a custom WordPress site. You don't need to be some kind of coding genius. We've got you. But I'm curious, with all this talk about, empowering non-techies, what about the developers out there? What about them?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Are they all going to be, like, replaced by robots? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I wouldn't say replaced.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But is their future going to be all, like, ones and zeros?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
But from everything I'm seeing, I think it's less about replacement and more about, like, evolution.
Okay.
Think of it this way. CodeWP handles all those tedious tasks, the repetitive stuff. Like the stuff that makes developers want to throw their computers out the window, right?
Oh, 100%.
So now they're free to focus on the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The creative problem solving, the strategic stuff that, let's be honest, AI can't quite replicate yet.
At least not yet.
Right, exactly. So imagine if you could offload all those little code snippets, those plug-in tweaks, hand them off to CodeWP.
Yeah.
Suddenly you've got all this time to really, like, dig into a client's needs to craft a solution that's not just functional, but, elegant.
It's like the difference between a chef who's stuck chopping onions all day
Right.
versus one who's finally got a sous chef to handle the prep work. Now they can experiment with new flavors, create those culinary masterpieces.
Exactly. And this shift, this kind of like elevation of the developer role, it's already playing out in how agencies are using CodeWP.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They're seeing improvements in efficiency, consistency across projects, across teams, and ultimately happier clients. Because things are just getting done faster and, better.
Which brings us to the all-important question, the one we all want to know.
Okay.
How much does this magic cost?
Right, of course.
Because, even the best tool is only as good as its price tag.
100%. And CodeWP, I got to say, they have a pretty smart pricing structure. They've got a free plan, great way to kind of dip your toes in the water, right? You get, limited actions. That's how they measure how much you're using the AI access to a few basic features. But it's enough to kind of get a feel for things,
Perfect for those who like to try before they buy, right?
Yeah.
But if you want the good stuff, from what I'm seeing, the Pro plan is where it's at.
Yeah, the Pro plan is where the party's at, for sure. That's where you unlock all those specialized modes we were talking about.
Right.
More projects, you get a bump in those actions, so you can really start pushing the AI and see what it can do.
Nice.
And then, of course, you've got the agency plan, which is, for agencies or larger teams.
Right.
All the bells and whistles, collaboration features, unlimited actions.
So no matter who you are, what your skill level is, or what your budget's like, there's a CodeWP plan for you.
I think that's a really smart move on their part. Makes it accessible.
It really does. And honestly, after spending all this time, really digging into what CodeWP can do,
Yeah.
I'm walking away. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited.
Oh, absolutely.
The world of WordPress, it's changing and AI is leading the charge.
It's true. It's true. And, there will always be challenges, new questions, especially as AI becomes, more and more part of our world.
Right.
But the potential, man.
Yeah.
The potential is huge.
It really is. So maybe the question isn't so much is AI here to stay, but how are you going to use it?
Love that.
How are you going to harness that power to, level up your WordPress game? And if CodeWP is any indication, the future's looking bright, efficient.
And maybe even a little bit magical.
And maybe a little bit magical.